million. Now this is documented. You can look this up on the internet. You can look, I'll show you the press releases. This is dead simple stuff that when I show it to you, it's gonna appear so obvious that you're gonna think that's all there is to it. And folks, really, that's all there is to it. Step one, you gotta do your market research. And we'll go through these a couple times, so if you don't get it the first time. Market research. Is anybody here into hobbies or like electronic trains or remote controlled cars or kind of like science project toys that you build and things like that? Robotic things. Well, if so, you've probably heard of this website, Hobbytron. We started that company in 1999 using this exact same formula. Has anybody ever heard of a little magazine called Inc. magazine? Okay, it profiles large, small, medium, and large privately held companies. Hobbytron.com was in Inc. magazine as one of the 500 fastest growing companies in America 2 years in a row. So we'll show you some more of that proof. Here's one. Does anybody have a trampoline? I know that's very 1980s, huge in the 80s in the US. I don't know if it's still popular now, but go to Trampoline Parts and Supply. It sells trampoline parts and accessories, folks. We sold it last year for $2.5 million. It sells trampoline parts and supplies. You know, the springs, the mattress, whatever the pad thing is called, and the enclosure and things like that. That's it. It was just set up using this process. Why? Why do I put that under market research? Because that's stuff that people actually want to buy. If you're trying to sell stuff that people don't want to buy, you're going to have a tough row to hoe. But if you sell, for example, what happens if you buy a trampoline here in Ireland? Okay, you can buy trampolines at all kinds of major big box stores, right? What happens if you get it home and a year later one of the parts break? Before the internet, there was no way to get that part. I mean, you could go to an instruction manual and call the company and track something down. But now what do? You look up the name of the trampoline, maybe a part number, or just type in, jumping gym spring, and this website will come up. So that's where e-commerce is going, to sell things that are very specific, fill a specific niche need, that if you had a trampoline parts store here in Dublin, how much business would you get? Not much. But if you have a trampoline parts store on the internet, worldwide, and you only sell one specific thing, and that's all you concentrate on, you're going to do extremely well. I don't know about you guys. Anybody watch the show Little Britain? Yeah. You know, the store that sells the one specific thing, and the guy comes in and asks for something very, very specific. Well, that doesn't work in real life. That's why the show's so funny. But on the internet, you can do that exact same thing and make a ton of money. My wife thinks that's the dumbest show ever made. But I watch it on BBC America all the time. It's hilarious. Especially the computer says no part, that lady. If you haven't seen the show, you've got to see it. Okay, so step number one is market research. Step number two, properly built PPC campaigns, AdWords being the king. Why are we talking about PPC? Because basically, if you can't make it work with PPC, you're not going to be able to work with almost anything. People say, well, what about this? What about this market? What about this market? Yes, there are some exceptions to this rule. The problem is that those exceptions are very limited. PPC is the foundation of a legit, profitable, ongoing internet business. If you're going to rely on blogging or social media or some off-the-wall, flash-in-the-pan sort of thing, yes, you can make money with those, but those are not things that are going to last a long, long time. How long has pay-per-click marketing been around? 1996. So in terms of the internet, that's pretty much day one. When did you guys all get on the internet for the first time and start surfing around? What year? Shout out some years. 97, 94, 95. Hey, there we go. Yeah, I got on in 1995. So this, when I was in college. So this was just right after that. The very first search engine, pay-per-click search engine was called GoTo, which then got bought by Overture, which then got bought by Yahoo. It's still around. It's called Yahoo Search Marketing. Okay, it's not going to change. There's always going to be a pay-per-click search engine because that model has proven highly profitable. Why does everybody in the world know the name of the company Google? It was a free search engine that gave away for everything for free until in 2001, they started this little program called Google Adwords. Why is their stock price $300 or $400 or $500? Well, because they actually make money. People pay them for advertising. What happened to all those companies in in 2000 and 2001 that had all the billboards and didn't have any real product and gave stuff away for free. Where are they now? What about Excite? Remember that search engine? Alta Vista, Web Crawler. Where are they? The only three major search engines that survived are which three? Yahoo, MSN, and Google. Why did those three survive? What do they all have in common? They make money. You know, MSN obviously is a little bit different case because they make money from other things, but they all have a pay-per-click search engine, and those are the top three search engines and the top three pay-per-click search engines. So a properly set up PPC campaign, and we're going to show you how to do that today. Step number 3, conversion tracking. What's conversion tracking? That's where you figure out if what you're doing works or not. There's a famous quote from one of the early big advertisers of the 1900s, and he said, yeah, it's great. I think that 50% of our advertising does really well. The only problem is that I don't know which 50%. On the internet, with Google AdWords, every single keyword is trackable. Every single keyword is its own individual salesperson. So, for example, in my Google AdWords account, I have upwards of 150,000 keywords. And when the sale is made or a sale is not made, every single one of those keywords reports back and tells me how it's doing. 150,000 salespeople out there, all trackable. And what do we know about salespeople? Have you guys ever been in sales? Are all salespeople created equal? No. I tell you, I was probably the world's worst salesperson. Yeah. I mean, I worked in an office where I saw people all around me making all this money. And I just couldn't do it. I just wasn't a good salesperson, just wasn't a good match. And so that's one of the reasons that got into internet marketing, and I still sell stuff, but it's a lot easier when you sell it this way. So conversion tracking is how you set up your campaigns so that every keyword is responsible, every keyword, you know the results of every action that you take. What if you run an ad? Well, you want to know whether the ad lost money or made money. What if you test one banner A versus banner B? You want to know which one worked. And so we're going to talk about and show you how to do that. So step number 4, split test or multivariate test of key sales elements. Can everybody raise your hand who knows what split testing is already? Okay? Who knows what multivariate testing is? Okay, a couple people. Okay, here's what all split testing is. And we're going to give you an old example. This is a pre-internet example. You can see how painful it was before the internet to do split testing. Let's say you had 2 different versions of an ad that you wanted to run. They're all identical, except for one has headline A, one has headline B. And they're different headlines. If you're going to run a newspaper ad, what would you have to do to be able to split test that, to test one ad against another? You'd probably have to contact the newspaper and say, look, I want to run 2 different ads. I want half the publication be printed this way, the other half printed this way. And they would give you all kinds of, all kinds of guff over that. And eventually you get it done. And when the results came back in, when people called on the phone or came by your shop, you'd say, okay, could you tell me what the headline of the ad that you saw, how did it read? And you'd write that down, and then you tabulate the results, and at the end of the day, you'd go, oh, this one had 13 sales, and this one had 5 sales. So the next time you run the ad, which ad are you going to run? One that got more sales. That's split testing boiled down. Now, on the internet, here's the great thing. All that hassle is taken away. You can set up split testing in 10 seconds. So all you do is you write 2